the news we crave. Under neon lights we take a stand. Knights and wizards across the land.
Good afternoon. It is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon here at Site B on this, my birthday. What did I do for my exciting 59th birthday? I slept. I meant to go out. I was going to go see Superman, but I was just tired. I'm just there's no energy anymore. I'm old. We're continuing to go through the games that we downloaded from that Humble Bumble, 57 games for $40. Sadly, that one is gone. There's a new one up, which is not quite as good, but still, I don't know. There's not enough on that one that I was going to get it because there's only like 3 or 4 on that one I wanted. But yeah, and today we're looking at the classic comedy game, which is near and dear to my heart, Kobolds Ain't My Baby, where you play a kobold doing variously ridiculous kobold things. A lot of the way I portray goblins is kind of based upon the way this game portrays kobolds, but I wanted my kobolds to be still kick-ass like from Tucker's Kobolds, so my goblins in my game. But anyways, yeah, this is a newer version. What version is this? This is the 2024 version. It is using the polymorph role-playing system, which I've heard interesting things about. So I'm kind of more interested in the polymorph system than the actual kobolds. The art is hilarious. It's wonderful. So yeah, here's a game where you play a kobold doing ridiculous things and then trying to survive. So let's see how we make a kobold. So we're going to take a look at the character sheet first, because we always do. All right. So this is there's the entire system there. And then here's the character record sheet: name, job, left paw, wrong paw, flavor, human words, treats, and resolver. And then how many times you've died. So pretty simple. Pretty simple. All right. So here we've got all the flavor. We've got the kobold safety teams and how it is not actually correct to eat babies. Okay, I mean, this is a role-playing game, and in the role-playing game, you play this horribly ridiculous creature that, amongst other things, eat babies. But in real life, it is not a good idea to eat babies. Then here's an understanding of the system. You will need a set of polymorph Kobold Ain't My Baby dice. Polymorph only needs a D4, D68, D10, D6. You should just actually really need a lot of D6s. And then here's the actual definition of a kobold, the metaphysics of a kobold and their religion or lack thereof, a day in the life of the kobold, and how to make a kobold. The mayor, that's you, the DM. Here's the Kobold King. Taking me a little while to figure out how to make a character. Here we do our actions and saves. Since you don't have stats in this game, how do you make an actions and saves? It says here that, however, kobolds have none of these things like dexterity or constitution or levels or anything like that. So instead of having to do any kind of real fancy math, skill point assignment, or really much reading at all, we have provided you with the elegant system that is impossible for you to screw up. Oh, I'm sure I could find a way to screw it up. An action is anything your kobold is trying to do. If there's a chance that they will want to do will fail or otherwise cause harm, then it requires a dice roll. Spotting babies, climbing fences, slaying chickens, breaking hearts, kicking in a door, anything that's an action requires a dice roll. Okay, when the kobold wants something that not to happen, they roll a save: dodging, resisting telemarketing pitches, surviving a fall, failing to be hypnotized, not being set on fire. Saves usually happen on the mayor's turn. I think I just bit my tongue. Depending on which one of the 4 results you're trying to think, Depending on what you're doing, the mayor will try and tell you which one which result you're trying to hit. The action result, the feat result, the beat result, or the meat result. Once you know your result, you want to roll your d6s and check the revolver on your kobold character sheet. If the roll matches one of the numbers listed besides that result, you succeed. If you don't match that, you fail and you need to take a horrible death check. Okay, simple enough. Oh my God, and it gives you an example. A big spider is attacking Vosh. He lets the mayor know he's going to take off his jeweled flip-flop and smash it. For a straight melee attack, tells Vosh that's a beat roll, which he needs a 3 or 4 or 5 to succeed. Vosh rolls his d6 and gets a 4. He hits. Now he gets to do damage. See damage page 29. Okay. And then here's what each one means. Eat. For many of your actions, your kobold does what his head. He's mostly eating or biting. On a rare occasion, when he uses his head for something other than eating, kobold might want to think of a clever plan, use their eyes to search, talk to a human, or talk to critics, pull someone from the recesses of a teeny memories, track food, or whatever. It's an eat roll. Eat rolls when someone tries to order your kobold around with stuff like mind control, charm, or bullying, or when they become disoriented from things like spells or alcohol or repeated head injuries. Okay, so anything that involves your heat. And a success is a 2 or a 3 on your dice. Then we have the feat. Is anything that is fast or dexterous. 3 or 4 or 5 is a success. We've got the beat. When the problem comes along, you must beat it. Get it? Beat actions are for breaking stuff or otherwise general mayhem. When your kobold wants to attack something, which will be pretty much all the time, you're going to roll a beat. Doesn't matter if it's close combat or ranged, alive or dead, friend or foe, salty or sweet, no realistic or impressionist, you will roll a beat. So if my kobold wants to stab you with a spear, that's a beat roll. The success is a 4, 5, or 6. Then we got the meat. Meat is for any time you want to do some kind of feat of strength or guts, like standing your ground or lifting an extra large sandwich. That's a meat roll, and that's 4 or 6, 5 or 6. Then there's special results. The kobold has failed to hit one of the target numbers for whichever results you're hoping for. Not all of his lop. It may still be possible to succeed on a roll of kobold or on a 1 of kobold or 6 of cheat. Kobold, when you make a roll, if you roll a 1 and the action is something that a kobold excels at, then it succeeds. What kind of things do kobold excels at besides eating? Well, that's a whole lot more that you'll have to wheedle and control and explain to the mayor. So basically, this is like a luck roll. So whenever you've failed everything else, you can try and roll a kobold check to see if you succeed. The kobold is trying to cook an excellent souffle for his fancy meal to impress King Tog. He rolls a 1 on his eat roll. This would normally fail, but cooking and being cooked for the matter is very much the things a kobold can do. Slod tells the mayor that why this should have been successful, and then he rolls his kobold check. He has to roll a 1. So you have to explain to the mayor why this was successful, even though it wasn't. You failed. All right, no, I didn't fail. Okay, this is why I didn't fail, because I remembered to use the super secret sauce that I stole from the chef 2 weeks ago. Okay, so roll a kobold check, and if you roll a 1, then you succeeded. Otherwise, you're still failed. And then the other one is the cheat. When all else fails, there's the option to cheat. Whenever you roll a 6, you can cheat to automatically succeed. This may be to overcome a failed eat or feat roll, or maybe because you were trying to do it obviously ridiculous and there's no way you should do it without cheating. If you choose to cheat, you must take a horrible death check. If the kobold fails the death check, you can still succeed on some super sweet action, possibly helping out your fellow littermates or maybe dragging them all to the hells with you if you cause their demise. The kobold needs to parkour a wall to grab a lucky chicken foot. He rolls a 6. He tells the GM that they cheat to skitter up the convenient ladder, which was just there the whole time. Didn't you see it? He takes a death check, and the lucky chicken foot is a win-win. How long could a game go on with the premise of stealing a loaf of bread? Long. That miserably long. I don't know what that means, but then there's chaos. Sometimes the order of the day is just to do something completely random, and the mayor may call for a chaos save. Whenever you're rolling a chaos save, you must roll your dice and get an even result. Getting an odd result means something bad happens. And then here's other resolvers. So this is the entire system. If you're trying to eat something, you're rolling a 2 or 3 on a d6, 3, 4, 5 on a d6, 4, 5, 6 on a d6, 5 or 6 on a d6, or 6 on a d6. Kobolds aren't evil, they're just hungry. Then we have something like advantage, and disadvantage in this game. Cool. And then we have examples for everything. Love that. Love that they have examples for everything. Disadvantage is also in this system. Got some other things. And then just running examples of what everything means. I like that. More games should do that. I should have done that. Just explanations of the mechanics. The different types of weapons and armors. What the death check means. World building. How to run a campaign. Here's a bunch of kobolds and a fake dragon monster. Here's the Kobold Master DM guide. Creating a kobold. So we have to wait all the way to page 42 before we find out how to actually make a character. So first we'll pick up our name. Steve. Let's see. So you're only rolling 1d6? Get a 6-sider. And there's okay. I don't know. What's this saying? You get different versions of the same dice that you get to choose. So depending upon how you want to roll. So you can only roll one dice at a time. Once you choose one of the 4 6-sideds, there's the 6-sider, the die 6, or the regular dice. And this will let you know which dice you roll for the entire game. Or will be like to say your roll is your roll. After you pick a roll, circle it on your character sheet. No matter what you choice, you're just going to be rolling a d6. But it wouldn't be very polymorph, but like if we didn't make fun of it. So there's the 6-sider. If you're always in the forefront of the action, you certainly have 12 death checks. You are the same dice, but it explodes just like every other roll. Like the other dice choices, the 6-sider is really active and likes to run around, unlike the other rolls. They are probably good at things, physical action, combat, and skills. They shine when rolling feet. Choose a 6-sider if you always want to be in the thick of it. Never really use your instincts or brains. Would be great at physical activities like running and scampering. Be an okay fighter, but not the best. Use a blend of special abilities, just cooking and combat. Okay, so that's 1. Or you could choose the die 6, which is smash things in the face. You are a damage dealer. You would choose this one if you stab things, kill things, set it on fire. You're good at physical activities or like parkour. You can survive a beating, stuff like that. Then there's the D6, spelled D-E-E. This one is for if you think you know, if you're better than other kobolds, if you use your instincts and thinking parts, if you like to cause problems, sniff things out, bark a lot, and make poor decisions. Then there's just the regular dice. The regular dice is for you if you want to be safe and help yourself. Safety, kobold strong and kobold hardy. Take a death check and laugh at it. Defend the party yourself or try to deal damage. Okay, so these are sort of the classes, but instead of the class, it's just which dice you roll. They're all D6s, but each one has a special flavor. Oh, and if you want to know what your character tastes like when it gets eaten, it has a table for that. So let's see. I'm probably, spicy, or yeah, I think if you bit into me, I'd be spicy. What position, what kind of job your character had? So roll 1d6 to find out what job you have. Roll a d6 to find out your job's. Roll a d6 on that job's gear chart. You can always choose not to roll and instead just be a vanilla kobold. So I'm going to roll my job, right? So you do this one, and it tells you, it describes what on the page it is. So first you roll which table, then you roll a d6. So, I roll a d6 and I get a 2. And then I roll a d6 and I get a 5. I'm a court jester. All right. So then we're going to go to page 62 to see what a court jester gets me. God, I'm so tired today. I have 1 beer. I should not be this worn out. All right, court jester. I roll a d6 on my starting gear. I could get 1d6 scrolls of dance remakes, 1d6 cream pies. Okay, now, yeah. A kobold puppet, 1d6 banana peels, juggle balls, or an anvil. And then I've got a stick, and I am immune to any damage I directly cause myself because I'm so used to hitting myself with my own stick and doing jester things. And that's my special class special ability. And there you go. There's your character. And then I would pick which one of the dice I would use for mine. And since I'm a court jester, probably the one that's like sneaky. And these are all the classes. Pumpkin spice kobold. Everything's pumpkin spice, even kobolds. So these are all the classes, and all of them are obviously made with silliness. They do have a magic user, but it's sort of a magic user that also makes sandwiches. Topping food establishment. So I could have the crunchy burger of biological distress. Okay, those are my spells. Has anybody made a sorcerer class for Shadowdark? Because I kind of want to write one since we're playing around with other classes. Were chicken, wizard's lackey, a lot of classes. Then you get to after you have a job, roll D666 to find out what else your kobold is holding, and write the answer on left par on your kobold sheet. First, determine the category of the item. Go to the chart, then roll a D6 to find the type of the item, and then roll your third D6 to determine the style of the item. So 3, I've got recycled gear, and then I've got weird recycled gear, and then I'm going to go to page 91 to see what my recycled gear is. So on that one, I roll a D6, and I get a, I don't know, because it's me cooking. And then I roll here to see what kind of cooking it is. It's a stew pot, colander, spatula, mortar and pestle, cup of endless water, or cheese grater. I've got a colander. And then here's a bad guy. Here's the Kobold magic system. And here's an example of play. Here's the DM's guide. So there you go. A complete ridiculous game with a relatively simple system that's unnecessarily complicated just because it's kobolds. So they took the very relatively simple system and made it complicated, not because the system is complicated, but because this is a ridiculous role-playing game about kobolds eating babies. So yeah, it feels like there's a decent system in there. It's very simple, a little silly, but I love silly, a little whimsical. I love whimsical. So there's nothing about the system that's innately bad. Kobolds Ate My Baby is good for a one-shot or a small campaign. or just, your group is one player short, so you can't continue. So you're all like, let's play Kobolds. The polymorph system itself has been used for other things besides Kobolds. I do remember hearing good things about it. So yeah. Now, unfortunately, the bundle is no longer available. So if you wanted to pick up a copy of Kobolds Ate My Baby, you'll have to do it normally. Use my affiliate link down below to pick up your copy of Kobolds Ate My Baby if you want to get it from drive-thru. So if you're looking for a ridiculously silly game that isn't mine, where you get to do ridiculously silly kobold antics with very little, consequences other than you're probably going to die, using a strange D6 system with lots of weird random tables, lots of things I like in this one. So yeah, it's hard for me to find anything wrong with it other than, could you do a 6-month-long campaign with it? Or that kind of thing. But for a one shot, for just a goofy Saturday, for a game where, you just need quick characters, you're going to want to spend an hour or two just being silly because somebody didn't show up or whatever. Feels perfect. So there you go. Kobolds Ate My Baby. It's probably available on drive-thru or somewhere if you want to pick up your own copy. Again, sadly, the bundle is down. There's the new bundle, which is not quite as good as the previous bundle. This one made sense in what, in the way they picked, what games they picked. The other one, not so much. It has a much more vague theme, but it's, also $10 cheaper. So there you go. What did you think of Kobolds Ate My Baby? Do you want to see me continue to do these reviews, or are you like, this is boring? Let me know. Until next time, I'm the OGGM. It's my birthday. So what do you want to give me for my birthday? You could like, you could share, you could subscribe. You could check out the links down below to buy my merch, or you could just, if you can't do any of that, just have a good day. Have a good day in my name, and I'll talk to you later.
Monsters lurking in the night, heroes ready for the fight. Dice are clattering on the wood, storylines misunderstood. Get the latest buzz from afar, tabletops bursting like a star. No rules, just might and magic dust. In these worlds we play soft.